Hey, what's up, guys? This is Gerardo Morillo here, founder of ProsperityLifeAds.com. And today I figure I'll talk to you about what got me into spirituality, some of the facts, history, and whatnot. First of all, I really wasn't a spiritual person when I was growing up. In fact, I was agnostic, I was atheist. I didn't believe in Christianity. I didn't believe in anything of that sort. I didn't believe that there was a God or anything. However, it's kind of ironic because I was a bit of a soul searcher. I was always seeking answers. I was seeking truth, and I had a really, really deep desire to learn the truth, to understand everything, to understand that there was something more to life than it meets the eye. So for me, it was something that I really, really, really deep in my heart desired to understand reality, to understand life. While everyone here was just kind of like just talking about things, talking about random stuff, and me personally, I wanted to understand life entirely. I wanted to understand everything. I used to be a video gamer, and for me, gaming was like my source of inspiration, my source of hope, my source of insight. I learned a lot through video games, a lot through playing RPG games and all various of different types of games. I learned different types of strategies, different types of patterns. So naturally, when I went into the real world, it was pretty much it was just pretty much parallel. I was able to kind of just cross reference it. In fact, my spirituality was just kind of easy for me because I already seen these concepts in video games. So I was able to pretty much just kind of cross-reference, oh hey, this concept looks like this idea that I've seen in this game before, and whatnot. So for me, understanding spirituality wasn't so difficult. It was just kind of going from being a gamer to understanding the word language that these people were using, because they were using different kinds of language and wording and whatnot. So when you are someone who's a gamer, you see everything from a visual perspective, but you don't have necessarily the words to describe what you're seeing. So I understood everything from a very intuitive level. But let's go back to what got me into spirituality. It was kind of like an accidental miracle, you could say. And looking back, I guess you could say I was actually a very spiritual person. I didn't label myself as a spiritual person. I wouldn't consider myself a spiritual person. Spirituality is about understanding thyself, improving thyself, understanding about life, and working on our pros and cons so that we may evolve into a better version of ourselves, so that we can expand on who we are and reach the maximum human level of perfection. And that's what spirituality was. And deep down in my heart and deep down in my soul, I had this kind of desire to become my best. Almost in a very kind of neurotic suicidal way, where it's like I must become my best. And there was just that part of me inside of me that just, I could not deny this kind of feeling, this feeling that I must keep rising up, this feeling that I must keep rising up and tap into my highest potential. Because I don't want to brag about myself, but I just kind of felt that I was great. I just felt that I was talented. I just felt like I've had all these talents, and that I don't want to say special, but I just felt like I had all these potential. I had all this talent, and it was just like a feeling inside my body that just I could not ignore. And I just, every single day, I felt like I needed to kind of fulfill that thirst, to fulfill that hunger, to meet that expectations of myself, to fulfill that desire of becoming great, becoming of reaching my maximum human level perfection. So in a sense, I was already kind of spiritual. It's just that I didn't call it spirituality. It was just me seeking to become my best version of myself. And I did a wide range of crazy things to improve myself. I started off as a very, very shy person, very timid, very introverted. I had a pretty bad childhood, so I had to outgrow a lot of these issues that I was going through. I mean, I didn't have the best circumstances when I was growing up. A lot of my early childhood was something that really kind of crippled me and really limited me from being that what I knew what I could be. And everywhere I went, there was just the same thing. Even at 18, I knew that the world was programmed. Even at 18, I knew that the world was programmed. They all just follow these kind of sets of instructions, kind of like NPCs from a video game. They're very simple. And everyone wants to tell you what to do, and everyone is like very animalistic in nature. Everyone acts very primitive. So it's kind of sad that, especially for me going through all these things, that I had to really it was a big struggle for me to understand life, understand how to fulfill my full potential, and how to outgrow a lot of these issues that I was facing in my life, but also deal with these kind of external conditions of the stimulus, because people are like stimulus. The data around you is just a bunch of data. People tell you negative feedback, and it's just a data. It's just another form of data. But at some point, you get enough bad social data, bad social negative feedback, and this influences massively of how you perceive yourself. And at some point, you give up. At some point, you give up on yourself. At some point, your self-esteem becomes so brutally damaged that you don't want to do anything, because you have a giant collection of memories that are negative. And when you have all these giant collection of memories that are negative, pretty much this makes you more scared. This makes you more doubtful. It's kind of like these voices of doubt inside your mind, but also these emotional resistances are even amplified because you have all these memories that says life sucks, socializing is hard, making money is hard, etc., etc. So we have all these blockages, and as we grow older, we form all these different types of blockages that prevent us from reaching our true potential. Now, one of my thing is, I'm someone that I consider myself a nice person. I'm a nice guy. I'm a good guy. I try to do the right thing. I always try to do the right thing. I try to do my best thing. But one thing that I really hated is that I had to kiss a lot of ass growing up. And I hate to say it like this. I hate to put it like this. But I feel like I had to kiss a lot of ass because all I needed was one single thing to work. All I needed was one thing to work in terms of of my money. Because I was coming from deep scarcity. I'm talking about $0 in my pocket. I had anxiety, I had depression issues, I had low energy issues. I mean, I was still very, very intelligent, naturally intelligent. Video games taught me a lot of great insights about life. I read a lot of things online. I've been online since I was 8 years old researching about life. So I knew a lot about life. But I had a couple things that I had to really, really outgrow, such as my limiting ideas, such as my the giant collection of bad negative experiences that I've collected over the years, which made me not really want to be social, which made me not want to be um, as socially as going as I could be. Okay, and so I had a bunch of these restrictions that made me really kind of just kind of like, I don't know, just not do anything productive. And it just made it way harder for me to achieve the kind of success that I knew that I could have achieved. But one thing for sure is I knew if I had just one success, one early success, that where I was making money to expand and grow, it would have been so easy and smooth sailing for me, because I already had like a really good foundation knowledge of what I needed. It's just that I lack a lot of the resources, and you could also say the skills, and you could also say I lacked a lot of the confidence too. But I knew that once I had enough money, that I could just create a forward momentum, because money is a creator. It creates opportunities for yourself. Every single problem that I've ever had, I fixed with money. As I grew and I grew and I grew, like every single form of problem that I ever had, I fixed with money. Now I had like 1,001 problems, and little by little, like I started shredding each and every single problem. Every single blockages, every single insecurity, I fixed it with the help of money. Like money was a great asset for helping me to overcome all my internal issues, all my internal insecurities. This is why I am very thankful, and I'm very happy for money, because money really was one of the key tickets that helped me kind of to rise up. And now where I'm at right now, I feel like I have all the answers. I'm at a great place where I have the basic foundations of everything. I know everything I need to know to rise up and to grow and expand it into higher levels. And I'm finally I'm at a point where I'm happy, because I know that this is where I need to be. This is where I should have been. And that anything I desire is just a couple steps away. Now, it's just really, how I take it from here on and whatnot. So I was always pretty much, I guess you could say, spiritual, but I wasn't really spiritual in the way most people were spiritual. Most people went to church. I wasn't really like that, okay? In fact, I wasn't a Christian. I was agnostic, I was atheist, I didn't believe in any of that at all. However, as funny as it sounds, I was more spiritual than the people who went to church, because I was always soul seeking. I was always doing my own research. I was always trying to see what is it about me that I can fix? What can I do about myself to fix myself? Like, I was always researching for answers, because I wanted to understand life. I wanted to understand reality. I wanted to understand what this was. And I'm finally at a point where I'm very comfortable with the amount of level of knowledge that I've accumulated at this point. However, one thing for sure is that I don't truly believe that you can know everything. Like everything. No, do you really need to know everything. But I'm at a point where it's like, man, I'm so content with what I know. Because I know everything that I need to know to just feel content with myself. All my life questions have been answered. Everything that I ever wanted to know about, I've answered it. And now I read the Bible, and now I read the tarot cards. I study the tarot cards. I'm into the Kundalini. I'm into NLP. I'm into hypnosis, and all of these things really they amplify my spirituality. They make me a better, complete person. And on that day where I did receive my Kundalini awakening, that was the best day of my life. Because until then, I was kind of neurotic. I was kind of depressive. It was it was until that Kundalini awakening came that it created a whole new life for me. It just changed my path. Whereas like I was just kind of waiting around, and I was kind of like letting people like kind of just have their way with me just because I was broke, just because of whatever. And then once I had that Kundalini awakening, everything just changed. My mind and body system was purified of a lot of the psychic pus, a lot of the negative memories that was still inside of it. I also gained valuable insight about the human condition, about human reality as it is. So I learned a lot about. I learned the fact that you can become a higher form of human, that you can become more godlier, that you can become more of an advanced human being. Now, at that time, it was a little too much for me. It was my first time that's ever happened to me, so it was a little too severe, and it was a little too much to handle at that time, and it was kind of scary, even for someone like me who's been searching for answers for a long time. That to me was very a very big deal for me. But one thing's for sure, if I never have a Kundalini ever again, that one awakening was enough for me, because that one awakening did for me what I always like. It just answered my question: is there more to life than just this boring life that we live in? And the Kundalini just, it made me realize that like the sky is the limit, that there's an infinite amount of potential, that there's so much more that we can be, there's so much more that we can evolve into. Like we can develop psychic powers, we can develop telepathy, we can be a healer, we can heal, like we can be like X-Men, and we can like evolve past our limitations. And for me, when I got that Kundalini awakening, it just made me happy. It just gave me content. In fact, I can almost die knowing if that's my only Kundalini awakening I ever have, I can die knowing, I can die just being content. Because I had so many pressing questions. Man, it's like, is this life, man? Is this really it? This is so boring, man. We're so fake in our reality. We're so always having to do what we have to. And reality is so fake. You always gotta say like the fake answers to everything about life. And I just couldn't wait for something like miraculous to happen. And I took the Kundalini very seriously. I studied the Kundalini for many years, but unfortunately, like that was just a bunch of theories, right? So it was just a bunch of theories that I read online. That was cool. That was nice. I met George Hutton, and I'm very grateful for George Hutton, because George Hutton, I bought his program called the Kundalini Activator. And he made the whole thing very simple. He made everything make sense. The Kundalini Activator was basically opening all your 7 chakras, opening the life flow of each and every single chakra, so that you can become an awakened being. And then you can understand what it means to be awake. And that to me was the best day. That was the best experience I ever had in my life. It was a little weird, it was a little scary, but it was the best. It was the best moment of my life, because it was the turning point that changed everything for me. It made me take life more seriously. It made me want to rise up into my highest potential even more. It made me give up a lot of things that, hey man, I used to play video games a lot, and I stopped playing video games like dramatically since then. I love video games, but when I got my Kundalini awakening, it made me take life more seriously. It made me get rid of a lot of things that were just kind of hindering me. And it just gave me fulfillment, knowing that there is more to life than there really is. And again, when I was going through this process, it was kind of scary, because you don't know anything. Your friends and family don't know what this process is. I read a book about it. I read several books about this topic. Kundalini Activator. I bought Kundalini Activator by Joe Charton. I've read several books that talked about the Kundalini. But to me, it was kind of like it was one of those things that really just it was just kind of a bunch of theory that just didn't make any type of sense at all. At all. Now I still don't know how I managed to awaken my Kundalini. I really don't know what happened, why it happened that way. I have a couple of theories as to what happened. It seems like it was kind of like an energy flow, an energy oversurge, but I don't know why. Maybe it was so much anger that accumulated within my mind and body system that it kind of just overflowed my system. Or maybe the Kundalini activator just tuned in enough of the chakras enough to a point where it riz up. At the time, I was going to the gym. I took a pre-workout. So a lot of these in combination maybe is a reason why the Kundalini was activated. And since then, since my Kundalini was activated, I became more spiritual. So I definitely do identify myself as a spiritual teacher. I identify myself as an enlightened teacher. I know a lot about the Bible now, and I see the truths everywhere. And a lot of it is just understanding that what you think is made manifested. And you can create yourself however way you want to create yourself. But you also gotta learn to handle the energy flows that are within your body. Your body and how you respond to the universe is telling you where some of your weaknesses are and how to clear some of those weaknesses. So you need to be able to willingly challenge those weaknesses so that you may evolve and grow onto higher and higher levels. Also, that you need to kind of check in with yourself about these emotions that are happening with you. So a lot of times what happens is that we have a lot of these memories from the past that contain a lot of these emotional damages or past hurts. And these things don't go away just because. So we need to take the time to analyze those memories and then think about ways to fix them so that we can be purged and healed from a lot of those emotional damages from the past. Because the past affects us in a lot of ways that we don't even know about, because they're memories, and these memories cripple us from progressing forward sometimes because we're so stuck on the past. And so that's what tends to happen. Anyways, guys, this is a quick 20-minute video on how I became spiritual. Once again, I might get a part 2 onto this because this was 20 minutes long. I did not intend to make this 20 minutes long, but with these kind of things, it kind of just happens. So, if you like my work, feel free to check me out on prosperitylife.com. If you're someone who's interested in becoming spiritual and evolving your Kundalini and maximizing your potential, check out the Kundalini Activator down below. Visit me at prosperitylife.com. I'm an enlightened teacher. I teach about the mysteries and answers to life. If this sounds like it's interesting to you, please visit me at prosperitylife.com, and thank you so much for watching.